Okay, let me just plug in the earphones. Here we go, guys. What's up? What's up? I hope you are having a good weekend. Depending on where you are, it's in the morning or in the evening, like it is for me. So right off the bat, Jamie Lynn had contributed with a super chat before the stream even started. Jamie Lynn is someone that appeared out of nowhere like 2 weeks ago, or even less, and has just become a huge fan and supporter of the channel immediately. And I'm not only talking about the monetary stuff, the super chats, even though they mean a lot to a small channel, of course. And yeah, it always means a lot to a content creator when people want to support their work, of course. But I mean, also just binge watching through the videos and commenting on all of them, basically. So it's very much appreciated. So I guess the question was, and hey, Alex of Fourhorn. Okay, so her question disappeared in the chat now, I guess, because it was just laying there. And yeah, before the stream started, but I did write it down because I made the same mistake last week that someone wrote things in the chat before the stream started and it was gone. But it was about the Sun Soda, so my carbohydrate electrolyte. What is that? Ah, weird student stuff. I guess I'll go on another path than I thought initially. And some kind of, I don't know, this first month, this first summer, what the fuck are you doing in school, you know? They're just partying and doing weird shit. But okay, about Sun Soda, my electrolyte carbohydrate drink that I've been doing, I tried on a longer fast, drink a couple of liters of that, like 400 calories per day. So it's like 100 grams of carbs per day with potassium in the drink. And you have the sodium on the side, of course. And so it's almost more like a fast mimicking diet then. And I enjoyed it, and I've talked about in my other videos for who and what purposes I think it might be superior to just having the snake juice. But so the question from Jamie was fasting, if I've tried fasting with or without, or I guess with the Sun Soda, when having a cold, what could it help the recovery time? So what I'll say about that is like the Sun Soda is like a month fresh, like a little over a month I've even been drinking it, you know. One long fast I've done, and I've just experimented with it otherwise, like having it before I consider my 8-hour daily eating window open. So I haven't really had time to do much more experimenting with a long fast with it. And what I'll say is that colds from a virus, you can't really fast away, to my understanding. Like I know once when I had a cold, I tried a dry fast and I just used a sauna like crazy, and it was actually a lot better the next day. But I just don't know if, you know, it wasn't all gone. I don't know if that really helped. But to my understanding, it's the bacteria. When you have some kind of bacteria disease, you know, you're sick from a bacteria, then fasting can actually help remove the bacteria faster. Maybe because of the reduced inflammation, among other things. But with a virus, it's just that the fasting is more like a hormesis that's good for the immune system long term. So it's not necessarily that fasting would be better when you're sick. And so what I'll say is I've always felt like, you know, when your body is working the way it should, you can listen to the signals. So when you're sick, I'd say sometimes the body is going to tell you to fast. I remember when I was a kid, and for some reason it's kind of like, you got to eat something, you got to eat something, but you didn't have any appetite. Maybe you didn't have any appetite for a reason. Maybe your body wanted a little break so that it could focus on healing itself from the sick, right? But I also think that if you do feel some hunger when sick, the body is probably asking for something, right? And I guess, you know, the vitamin C in the in the Sun Soda orange juice specifically could be good, but it's also one of those things that it's more important that you get that regularly than that you do that when sick. So that would be my answer to that question. And then Jamie asked for a cold impression. I'm not really, I did take a nap. It's been a standard for me on Saturdays to take a nap. Very funny how it ends up have a similar routine. I work very similarly throughout the weeks, right? And it just ends up that after my leg workout and maybe a sauna on the Saturday, I'm just wiped and I have to take a nap. But yeah, I'm not really in the like high energy mode to go anything cold. I can do the, hey fatty, listen, you know, but I can't. I'm not in a spot where I come up with something to go on about. But I go on a little rant about fat people. in honor of coal instead. Yeah, I've thought about, when you've reached what I've reached in my life, it's a lot more than just getting jacked that I've done, really. I'm ripped. I have a fucking hard time not staying. Yo, Adam Lucas, what's up? If you have any questions or that, please keep on coming. I have a few things to get to here on the paper, but I'd appreciate it if you guys brought some more questions. Yeah, so yeah. Uh, do you understand how funny it is to a guy like me that I just changed my diet according to my goals? It's like, okay, it's time to cut. I fast more. I eat a little less. I'm a bit more aggressive with my intermittent fasting, and I cut. And if it's time to bulk, like at this time, it's even like I have to pour so much fucking fat on the food and eat so many nuts, and I still barely gaining weight. I said last week that when I did a bulking video, I'm finally gaining weight. Well, now it's like slowing down. I don't know what to do. It's difficult. It's difficult at this time. But yeah, do you understand that I do content to and interact with tons and tons of people that comment and ask questions via Instagram and the clients I have, the people that can't fucking stay away from junk food. When you reached what I have, like when you have reversed this, the food addiction, from all the fasting and staying off the junk food, I have zero want for it. It's like, it's not a fucking cool guy act. There's nothing that makes me want this crap, this poison that destroys my body. And it's such a weird thing to be, because I love what I eat. I'm not disciplined with how I eat. If anything, I'm disciplined with, that I go and buy the food and I cook it for myself and all this shit, because my wife isn't around to do that for me yet. But yeah, the actual eating the food, I love the food I eat, and it feels so dumb. It feels so dumb to see people struggle with, like, I want people to understand that. Could you just, do you understand that you could eat stuff that builds your body up instead of breaking it down, and you could enjoy it. It's such a weird place to be for me, that this thing that so many people struggle with on one level or another, I like have zero issues with, and can only see the upside to not doing that. Yeah, because the taste does not interest me. It doesn't interest me at all. So yeah, there was something more. I guess you guys are talking a bit more, because I have another old question here, but I have some stuff in the chat. The answer: if I fast Sunday through Wednesday, do I still lift at the gym on every single one of those days? If you watch my videos for how I structure it, the answer is a clear no. No, you focus on the lifting on the days when you eat. Like, you have to ask yourself when you ask that question, I'm happy, I'm not mad, this is the way I talk, to clarify to all the people that always think I'm mad lately. I'm just trying to be serious and clear in my answer, right? So you have to ask yourself, what would be the point of lifting on those days? It's not that you can't at all. If you want to do a light workout on the fasting days, if you want to, then why not? But you have to ask yourself, why would you do it? Why do you train on the fast? Because you're in a giga-catabolic state, You are getting no building blocks from the outside. And if you train hard, you just break muscle down without any building blocks, and you're actually losing muscle from, if you go about training like you would when you normally train and you eat, right? So because I guess you're basing it off of my content when you ask about fasting Sunday through Wednesday, since that's often how I schedule these fasts, and I talked about it in my videos. Then in my routine, in the week 2 of my routine, when the weeks where I did a fast Sunday through Wednesday, I do upper body on the Wednesday, I do lower body on the Thursday, I rest on the Friday, I then train full body on the Saturday, and then I eat to recover again on Sunday. Do you see how I always make the workouts as productive as possible? No working out hard if there's not going to be any building blocks to repair, right? So that's a long answer to your question, that you can exercise, you can move, you can do something that's not going to break your body down, but there's like no real point. The weightlifting, the meat and potatoes of your training for this kind of progress is done in the fed state. You cut and get the other benefits from the fast. You focus on the catabolism with the fast. You focus on the metabolism when you're eating. Metabolism, I mean anabolism. Okay. So let's see. You need Click says you need recovery time depends on your own personal genetics. I guess you're answering the answer. And you also said if you work out while fasting will basically be a focus on turning up autophagy. But you can work out, you can train when fasting, but it's like, should you be lifting heavy? Should you be should you still be doing your lifting as usual? To that, my answer is a clear no. It's not that you should just be sitting around on your ass just because you're fasting. Of course not. Like you should be doing stuff that I'm doing now. Well, just be out. Just mobilize your body. Just use it. Adam Lucas. Theo, I wanted to ask what's the difference between cutting fat and body recomp maintaining if you're shredding body fat both ways anyway? Is fat okay? So the first question is a little weird structured, but you know, recomp, that means a recomposition. So you could be cutting fat and building muscle, so you don't necessarily lose weight because you're eating your maintenance calories, but you have excess fat, so the body can burn some fat, but you also can put on some muscle. So this is just something that I talk about, like for certain training periods, it might just be a good way for you to structure it overall. Like I do a kind of recomp main gain routine in the summer because I just know that I won't be able to bulk fully, but I don't want to be cutting, holding back. So I just end up eating on a small surplus that makes me kind of, you know, stay lean and build a bit of muscle, which is kind of the main gain recomp approach, right? And so cutting is just that you just cut fat, you are losing weight, and you're probably doing it at a faster rate, right? And so you could actually say, because I am a proponent of bulking and cutting, like not always giga bulking or giga cutting, but that you focus on one mainly, you know. Like even when I talk about my main gain routine, it's still like a bulk routine. It's just that I can't be quite as aggressive on bulking, but if anything, I try to be in a surplus rather than a deficit, right? But I'd say that a body recomp is often just a sign of a cut done right. You've trained well, you've nourished your body with high quality foods so that you could even build some muscle as cutting, you're really cutting, right? So that's the only difference. It's just semantics really, that recomp means that you're actually building muscle as you cut fat, and just you just cut fat. Click my click. Been here 5 minutes, this man is wise, subscribe. Well, I appreciate that, Click my click. Thank you for seeing it. There's a lot of, I mean, there's too few that have been able to take part in my wisdom, and I need you guys' helps with the likes and the comments and the super chats and the Patreon support to keep putting in the work. You know, I know that this channel can explode, you guys. I know it's kind of it's not very mainstream, so I'm never going for being the biggest channel in the world, you know, but I'm sure that there are a lot more people that would enjoy this channel out there, and they just haven't found it yet. So that's what we're trying to make happen here, guys. 10,000 subscribers before the year is over. I keep saying this even though the channel is growing so fucking slowly, but I have some tricks up my sleeve myself, but I really need you guys' help in the meantime, right? Okay, we have more here. Adam Lucas says, is fasting the best way to cure binge eating? So it can be, but it's also, you know, we gotta say that it depends on the individual, because some individuals, you know, that's the vicious cycle they get stuck in, because I see Alex of Fourhorn says this channel is a hidden gem. I appreciate that, man, and I know you from Instagram, of course, and I'm gonna answer your question in a bit. But yeah, some people, it's actually, I guess maybe their binge eating didn't start with a fast, but it becomes a problematic behavior that's how they break their fasts, and then they feel like they have to fast again, and then they binge again, you know. So, you know, if you get stuck in that vicious cycle, I think it's kind of better to leave the fasting for a while at least, and like, okay, maybe I'll try to actually eat just normal sized meals for a while before I try any more fasting, right? I'll see if I can pass this weird student thing going on here. But otherwise, like food addiction, if we never mind specifically binging, all kinds of addictions, like any addiction really, but especially with food. In fact, I have the videos with Sim, my friend, and I talk about this here and there, how fasting is the best way to remove the food addiction because it cleans out the dopamine receptors that are connected to your taste buds. This will make, because of what happens, it's like a druggie taking stronger dose of a drug. Now the first dose doesn't really do it. It's the same with taste and food. Foods that are supposed, just normal whole foods, are supposed to taste amazing to you. But when you have these extreme, highly processed junk foods to compare it with, they don't anymore. But so, with the fasting, you scrub out your dopamine receptors so that you can actually, you have access to things in the taste of these whole foods now that you didn't when you were addicted to this. But also, the cravings for all this junk food and to eat, for the binging and that, it's just the insulin sensitivity, right, that goes through the roof now. And you're not going to get these dips and feel like you have to eat all the time. But then it's also, when you're addicted to junk food, you have this, you know how we have a gut microbiome with bacteria and parasites that we want in there, but the right kind and ratio. And so when you've eaten these junk foods, you overfeed a certain kind of bacteria and parasite in there, and they want to stay alive, right? So they want more of this shit. And when you have the cravings for the junk food, it's actually like their hunger. You have these fucking invaders inside you, and you have to experience their hunger now. And so that also will start to get reduced and back to normal when you fast. So do you see what I'm saying? In the end, it could be a great tool to stop binge eating, but it's like food addiction and problematic behaviors with food in general, and specifically for the binge eaters, they can get stuck in that vicious pattern with the fasting and binging. And if you've done that over and over, I just don't think fasting is the answer anymore at that point, right? I'll say, before I go on, I say Click McClick has some questions, but I know Alex had a question that I thought was kind of funny. He asked, what is a good calf to arm ratio? So I guess you mean like the calf, which is the lower leg to the upper arm ratio. And you asked if 1-to-1 is good, or which is good. Like, I gotta ask, good for what? For some kind of physique standard. Good-looking physique, balanced physique should have calves in perfect proportion to the upper arms. The thing, I have never thought of it this way. I have only measured ever my arms, because that's the only thing I'm even a bit interested in measurement-wise. I look more at total body weight and just the aesthetics of my body. Do I think it looks good? So, just to answer your question, it's probably a decent ratio, but I would still guess that for most people that don't have terrible calf genetics, the calf should be able to get a bit bigger, right? It depends on your build completely though, right? I mean, you see some people that have fucking never trained their calves in their life, and they just have twice as big calves as you for some reason. And then you see these people that train hard, and all they get is that little, the calf is there, but it's not big at all, So, yeah, I must question why you even wonder this, for what purpose, the perfect physique standard or like this. I guess it can be just interesting, but yeah, I don't really think of it that way. But I think, yeah, probably 1-to-1 is a decent ratio for the calf and the arm. So calf is mainly for aesthetics, he said. Yeah, no, I get it, but have you ever thought that that guy's arms, they would look so much better if his calves was just up to speed? Or did do you think there's anything about the arms and calves that like play into each other? Like, his calves, they really make the arms pop because they're at the perfect ratio? Or see, that's kind of my question with that. Click McClick. How do you like to break your fast? Recently I used an avocado and an hour later some protein like steak. The thing is, I'm not too, and by the way guys, if you haven't liked the stream, do that, and super chats are possible to send in support of me and the channel. Just saying, I don't really, with my fast, I don't think that differently from when I see someone liked immediately, when I just eat normally, because I don't think that the body is just so weak that, like, when I haven't eaten in a while, it's very important that you don't feed me the wrong thing, because I'm just a little fragile human body. I don't think so, up on the connection. If you watch my Solar Night diet video, that way of eating is not very differently from how I'd eat when breaking a fast at all, you know. It's just eat a bit more, some extra meal, make sure I get some salmon in there. It's going in and out, I see, guys. But the only thing I try to do on a breakfast day is like everything I think is important in my nutrition profile during the week, right? I try to get most of it in. Like I will have the liver, I will have the eggs, I will have the juice, I will have the salmon often, I will have some pickled stuff for the gut, you know. I'll have the carrot, potatoes, carb up, you know. Nothing really very different from how I eat otherwise, just more on that day. Love from India, not exist YouTube. Yeah, well, love back to you, not exist YouTube. When fasting, I click again. When fasting, I psychologically include the next day when I eat as part of the process. I have to stay mentally strong. I don't just flip a switch and eat whatever. I psychologically include the next day when I eat. Do you mean that, like, you see that as part of the challenge, right? That's like, because for me it's not. I know that I'm not gonna screw up when I break the fast and just eat whatever, because I always plan and I'm very, you know, precise with my nutrition. But I understand if it's like, it takes discipline for you all over to stay on point with your diet and stuff. I understand why you would think about it more like that. That makes sense. And click, misclick. Calf aesthetic is very individualized. I've seen so many types of calves, lol. Yeah, true. My friend looks like he has a square metal plate. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, well, you're welcome. I love to share everything. So I guess I can go into, now that the chat is a little dead for a bit, but please keep stuff coming, guys. I always go for at least an hour with these. But if you keep the questions and especially super chats coming, I will stick around. They could be 1 to 2 hours, these streams, basically, and how long they are will depend on you, but I always go for an hour. So let's do it like that. So what I thought, because an old question I got last week that I didn't really get the chance to get to, was about the Sun Soda origins. Like, how did I come up with this drink, 50-50 orange juice and coconut water, adding the sodium? And I figured the best way to answer that is really to do the little, like, how is my relationship to fasting? How has that developed in general, right? Because that has to do with how I come up with this, right? So it's 2019, and I've been into doing the Uncommon Sense journey for a little over a year, and it's right around there that I start doing any content whatsoever. I think, I'm not sure if I started with the Instagram or the YouTube, but I start trying it out a little bit, just sharing, just doing some mental health video, some kind of like, oh, I'm trying this kind of diet now, I'm trying this, you know, little stuff like that. And then I come across this with fasting. It was actually when I heard a Canadian guy talk. He was coaching my choir. And so when we were out for beer, that I still did some back then, I'm not sure that I drank any beer at that point, but I was there, and I heard him say, when talking to someone else, like, and when I'm fasting. So I got curious, because I'm of course very into all the health stuff, like now too, but then too. So I had heard some about fasting, so I wanted to ask him, why do you fast? And he said, like, yeah, I think there are a lot of health benefits to it. But also, when I grew up, where you're just poor, didn't have any other choice many times. So it was like a strategy, and that really made me think, like, wow, you know, I had definitely had my issues growing up, not getting along with my parents and fighting with my autistic brother and all that. But food on the table, money like that, was never something I had to worry about. So I figured, like, okay, I gotta try it, at least for this reason, right? So I do a little bit of research, and okay, 5-day fast. That should be a big challenge, but not something I'll die from, you know. And so I plan that when we go with a choir to a Eurovision choir, actually, competition, we go to Gothenburg to do that, and we're gonna be done on a Sunday. And of course, we're staying at a hotel, and I know there's gonna be a great breakfast buffet. So I plan for that I am gonna have a big breakfast buffet and then go on this 5-day fast, right? So the funny thing is that I started fasting and started my celibacy on the same day, because I ended up, after we had done the competition and we went out to party and shit, and I drank a bit more, even when even, I had much healthier habits and all, but even compared to then, I drank a bit more, being away with a choir at a big event like that. And so I went home with some girl. I didn't really need the validation from women that in that way anymore. But I had not officially decided that, you know what, I'm staying Volcel from this point. But this girl made me decide to do that because, she was just imitating some porno she had seen, basically. I remember standing there behind her, and it's like, this fucking sucks. Why do we even do this shit? And yeah, I just decided there and then that this is the last time. So that was August 1st, 2019. And so that day, I also started that fast with this breakfast buffet. So that fast went really well. I was surprised, and after this point I was hooked on the fasting. I started experimenting with a lot of shit, 48s, back-to-back 48s, doing 3 48s with just one meal, like literally one eating at one point, and going on. And I tried it so much, and this is how I just noticed that what I've now learned afterwards. I've learned facts about how it works, how fasting actually reverses food addiction. But up until this point, I had to use a lot of discipline to stay away from junk food. But doing all these fasts that I planned out so well with the food I was breaking it with and stuff, I just resynthesized my taste buds, and I noticed that, hey, I don't really ever feel hungry in a bothering sort of way, and I never crave this bullshit junk food. But yeah, I tried to really, I was a little bit brainwashed by Cole at that point, and I tried to really make fasting something that I was always doing. So I tried to gain muscle while doing a weekly 48-hour fast and stuff like this. And after having tried for a while, I just kind of had to realize that I could get a bit stronger while doing that, but putting on more muscle was very difficult. So I finally took a break from it, went on an intermittent fasting bulk, and it was very rewarding, because it was as if the gains that had been waiting to be made when I was fasting too much just came. And then I cut very aggressively. I cut like 5 kilos in 9 days or something, as a guy that's like kind of, had some muscle and not very overweight, like super aggressive back-to-back fasting. And then I guess, I went on a bulk again, and I did a giga bulk and cut. And then, it's got to fast forward till now, basically, because then I had kind of formed my way how I do things. Like, I bulk a bit more in the winter so that I can fast more in the like spring/early summer. Then I kind of do some kind of maintenance routine or main gaining routine where I maybe throw in a fast like I did with the Sun Soda fast. I bulk a bit more through the autumn, might fast again, which I will here in October. But yeah, I've found my kind of system, how it will cycle throughout the year. But now I've come up with a Sun Soda, because what I started noticing is that as I've gotten really understood that it's not all about the fasting, which I've known for a long time, but I love being intermittently fasted at the start of the day when I do a bunch of shit, like a lot of productive shit on the, like, client calls, when I have my Greek lesson, when I just sit and write programs for clients, maybe write posts on Instagram, whatever I do, I like to be fasted for the extra little focus. And I actually kind of like to train fasted these days. So I just like feeling light in my body, and then break the fast afterwards. But I noticed that when I was out so much, lean as fuck, super active, sweating, I just intuitively felt like, even when I was drinking like snake juice like drinks, having salts and water, I just felt like something is fucking missing. And I just intuitively started craving. It was actually when Sim visited here and I started drinking a bit more coconut water, and I came up with this, like, what if, I don't go drinking pure juice all the time, but I mix something with the coconut water. So it's, still a bit lower calorie than the regular juice, but still some carbs in there, because that should help with energy and the hydration maybe. And so I decided, because it's very difficult when you've done a lot of intermittent fasting to to kind of go against that, to have any calories before the eating window is officially broken. Like it's so set for me. It just feels weird. But then when I started viewing it as it's not food, it's just an electrolyte drink to help you energize you throughout the start of the day. That just so happens to have some calories in it. When I started to think about it that way, it felt better. And I just had a great, it was actually on Gotland when I was there. I started doing it when I went to the outside gym there to train. I brought the bottle of this, as I was training, and then I broke the fast with food afterwards, and I just enjoyed it so much. It had the exact effect that I wanted, just energizing me more, helping me give even more that day. And to be honest, even though I added calories by drinking this, I got leaner when doing it. So that was basically it, that as I got very lean and active, I felt like, yeah, I like the intermittent fasting, but if I'm not gonna start eating earlier in the day, I have to change something, and maybe even this, this electrolyte drink. It's amazing with the coconut water that already contains so much potassium, a bit more potassium, but the carbs in the and vitamin C in the orange juice, and then you add the sodium, and it's just an amazing electrolyte drink. Carbohydrates, the snake juice, it only helps while you drink it in a few hours, but it won't stick to you. You should look at how the cell works, and you'll understand. But then I just figured that Cole is so black and white about everything, and I just figured I just don't buy that fasting in not fasting, but having a bit of this sun soda, like 400 calories ish, instead of being on 0 calories when your like calorie maintenance is like 3,500 or something. Like, how can this be such a big deal? How can that be bad? Maybe it's even good. Maybe it's even productive, again, in the attract, don't chase sort of way. That it will help hydrate you better because of the carbohydrates, but then give you a energy boost throughout the fast, so you're able to be more active and maybe even burn more energy in the end. And so I tried it because you guys asked me so much, and I really enjoyed it. I think that actually specifically when I go cutting, that's how I'll do it. And now when I'm gonna have a sort of more detoxing fast in a couple of months or so, then I don't want it, but also the beautiful thing about the sun soda when drinking it, you drink it on the day you're breaking the fast with food, then you get energy, and it doesn't feel like a fasted workout at all. You don't gas out as early, right? Because my experience otherwise when training fasted is that you were basically as strong as usual, you just have very bad stamina. But with the sun soda, it just changed it completely. My workout, 60 plus hours fasted with the sun soda every day, it didn't feel like a fasted workout at all. And then you eat protein later. So that's the origin story of the sun soda. You're welcome. Kefir fasting, Alex O'Foran said. There's also a thing called kefir fasting where I live. That's interesting. Never heard about that. Click. So I don't binge eat because I still haven't fixed my metabolic syndrome. My fasted blood glucose is still too high. I cut all sugar about a month ago. I eat fruit though, sugar in a food matrix. Yeah, that's 100%. That's something people have to understand. It's so complex. Just because we have found this with carbohydrates, protein, fat, there are many different kinds of those. And then in what environment, like you said, in the fruit, instead of just extracted and being on the outside by itself, right? It's different. I started following Dr. Paul Saladino, the YouTuber Carnivore MD. He basically eats grass-finished meat and organs, fruits, goats, milk, kefir, raw honey. Do you have any thoughts on him yet? Yeah. I mean, he was one of the, when I started getting more red-pilled on the nutrition, he was one of the guys I was listening to. And I always felt like he was a bit too fanatic about the meat, because he was very pro no plants, 0 plants for a while. And it's, not recently necessarily, but he changed his mind later on, as I suspected he would do. I'm just not super interested in his content right now. Like, it's good, but I don't learn that much new, or the things that I learn, it's like I don't really can do much at this point. But he was, when I started realizing that animal-based is the way to be, like not full-on carnivore in my opinion, but having a lot yeah, the basis of your diet, the foundation of your diet are different animal products, and then you add on plants and fruits and honey and that around. So he was definitely one of the voices I listened a lot to just learn and get red pilled on the nutrition stuff, along with like Sean Baker too. So yeah, that would be my thought. I see how it's more produced content these days, and I don't know. It's I don't have anything against it really. It's just that it doesn't really. I guess he's a good guy. You know, he's very driven. He's very like high energy guy, and so yeah, I definitely thank him for the stuff I learned when I was getting more educated on the nutrition. He is quite strict. Yeah, I enjoyed his blood work breakdowns. I need more knowledge there. Asar, hello again. How are you? So I think we worked through most things in the chat as of right now. I think so. Yeah, I don't have any more written down on this one, I think. I have a story written down that I told on another stream recently, but not too many people were around there. I guess because the stream, please keep it coming in the chat, guys. I'd appreciate it if you want to support the channel with a super chat as well. But I'll tell the story about what I studied, because that was a question someone else asked, and I answered it to him. But it's a little funny story. So and I have nothing else to talk about now, so why not? So yeah, my story is before I became the uncommon sense Theo that I've only been for a little over four years and 2 months or so. Yeah, I was a very nihilistic type of person. I see from the trauma in my life from early on, and my autistic brother and that, I just did not believe in God at all. I was an angry atheist, and I didn't really. My theory was that it was pointless. It was terrible accident that we were all here, because I couldn't see. In my view, then there was so much suffering, and if nothing existed at all, that would be better, because the argument would be, but then the good stuff went away. But in my opinion, it was like, yeah, but if there's no one there to experience it, they don't know that any good is missing, so it would be better, no one would have to suffer. And so I had no. I accomplished some good things. Like the best things I did in my life, I'd say, up until this point, is the work I did in my choir. It is an amazing choir, so just music work like that. But also, I was on the board. I had a lot of the social media stuff I did for that choir. That, and that I learned to play poker and make money on online poker. Those were the best things I did. But then, when you don't have any, you don't see any meaning to things, you're gonna become that hedonist, nihilist, pleasure-seeking individual. Because you see no point to it all, and you don't feel good. You're depressed. And so you want to instant gratification and pleasure in the here and now. That's all you can think of, right? And that, of course, destroys you after the fact. But yeah, so I became, after the high school, I didn't do all that much. I mean, I had a job here and there and stuff. But yeah, I felt like shit, basically. And I started finding an outlet in being angry at the news and politics, right? I basically, I traveled further and further down the rabbit hole, and I basically became like extreme right-wing kind of person. And a lot of the things you observe there when you get into that spot, they aren't necessarily untrue. It's just that they are not really the reason why you're feeling so shitty, and you just the hate you feel inside you towards yourself, you find some kind of outlet. May it be that you actually start hating like immigrants or women, or you just hate the politicians, the media, whatever. Some of these people might be terrible, but it's that you're feeling the way you're doing has nothing to do with them. Because I know that now, because I still think most journalists and politicians are either idiots or actually psychopaths, evil people. But I'm not upset about it at all. Do you see? But yeah, so what I came up with when I had no idea what I felt like I see things that a lot of people don't see. I want to reach out with a message. And so, naive as I was, I started studying journalism and thinking that maybe because the journalists fucking suck, maybe I can get in and do something differently there. And I should have been able to tell earlier on when I went to school, but I was never a place in the media for a person like me if I don't pretend to be someone else altogether, right? Because I noticed that the feminist girls in my school, they could basically just do their activist thing, and it's like, yeah, great, awesome, awesome. And if I tried to do anything I wanted, I was extremely questioned. Very rarely got away with it, and I was afraid of doing it to begin with. And when you get into those situations, right, it's difficult. And so towards the end of these studies, because aimlessly, just everything was aimlessly in my life. Like in the relationship I was in, I didn't really have thinking anything about where that was going, and these studies too. There was no dream job or something. It's just, I didn't know what the fuck I should be doing. So I was doing this, But then towards the end, when I realized that, shit, have I wasted almost 3 years on this bullshit, that I realized I don't want to work with this. And so I'm starting, it's all accumulating in my life. The childhood trauma, the wearing down on myself with all these shit habits, with drinking too much and neglecting sleep, eating a bunch of junk food. And yeah, it's finally catching up to me, and I had this life crisis to that. Shit, did I waste time? I don't want to work as a journalist, So at the temporary summer job, just a customer service for a rental car company, that's where I decided to take a study break and stay there for a bit. And that's where I had that first panic attack that I've told you the story about so many times here. And so when I went through all of that and I then started training and stuff, I had just one term left of this journalism studies. And if I had been like halfway through or something, I'd probably just abandoned it. But at that point, it was kind of like symbolic, like, did I really do all of that, to finish like 85%, like, nah, then let's make it a fucking 100. And it was great. I could study just whatever. I picked political science, do for a term. I barely had to be in school. And then I was walking in this forest like 2 hours every morning. And I was doing home workouts. I just had to be in school for the occasional seminar or exam. And then finally I became a journalist. And I'm never going to do anything with that. Not that I didn't learn anything. I did learn something about editing and the media, social media stuff I know more of because of this. And it's just experience. Everything you do in your life is always experience. But it's just, I don't feel great about the fact that I'm paying like thousands of Swedish crowns every few months in student loans, for a fucking piece of paper bullshit degree that I'll never do anything with. But yeah, that's a story I told because you guys were quiet in the chat. I hope it was fairly entertaining. I see one of these. Dr. Joe Sniper, how much muscle you can build every month? It's one of these completely uninteresting questions that there's no answer to. Like, I can make up a number and maybe you get some kind of dopamine hit from that. But, I don't know, man. I don't think of it that way because it's not that. I build 1 pound this month and then I cut next week. I'm thinking, how can I I'm going to go in a bulk for 3-4 months. I'll make as much progress as possible. And then I'm happy with what I get. I'm not like, I won't do it if I am not assured that I get at least 1 pound per month. I'm not saying that you said that, but when you even ask that these are, I know it, the reason I answer the way I do is because I was all into that too, having to fucking find out what I can expect exactly. But I wouldn't want to think of it in even a month time frame, because during a bulk, depending on how things progress, maybe for a little time of it, almost nothing was gained. And then on another month, much more was gained because, you had some issue you had to work around or something. So, I would say, for a guy with average genetics and this, I would say that like 5 kilos in a year is really, really good. I think that's kind of what I put on my first year. And I would have been able to put on more now if I could go back, because that's funny. My rate of gains have not slowed down that much as I become more advanced, because they say that it will, right? But it's because, yeah, they have slowed down, but I have my effectiveness and approach has been optimized. So you see, it hasn't really slowed down, just in comparison. But yeah, man, like, don't even think about that. You asked something like that before too. Like, what is the maximum someone could put on in a month if they did everything right? And it's like, I have no fucking idea, man. It depends so much on the individual. How advanced are they already? What are their genetics like? These things, even outside of, if they're doing the training and sleep and nutrition perfectly, it's going to affect it so much. So, for someone, what they can max out in a month is maybe like, a third of a kilo. For some fucking extreme noob that doesn't eat shit, that all of a sudden gets a good program and eats well, maybe puts on 2 kilos in a month. I have no idea. It depends so much. That's the thing with a coach. The coach doesn't really bring you, like me, Theo, I'm your coach on this channel, right? The coach doesn't really bring you the answer always. Like, sometimes there is a very clear-cut answer, but many times the coach knows that there is no clear answer here. So the coach just kind of gives you the right things to think about so that you come up with an answer for yourself, right? Right. So guys, we are close to an hour. I appreciate Jamie, who sent the super chat before the stream started, not even gonna be here, but I'd very much like to see, that's my goal for the stream now, that before 1 hour, or maybe, we'll see, maybe I'll stick around for a little longer than an hour, I'd like to get another super chat, any amount. You watching, you can help me reach this goal. A little bit of effort. I very much appreciate it. Let's see if we have anything more in the chat. Hey, Domin. Hey, man. What's up? Just uploaded a new YouTube video. Well, guys, you should go in and like Domin's video and watch it too. We can always hit the supportive like before. Yeah, Dr. Joe Sniper said too, it depends on many factors. You asked about the muscle per month there. Yeah. No, but good to see you, Domin. I've missed you. I hope you're well, and I hope your supplement protocol, the changing of it, is going well, and that. Let's see here. What more did we have? Click. Do you walk after eating to lower insulin response? I'm trying to incorporate this. I don't necessarily always. Because I many times I want a good insulin response too, right? You got to remember, people tend to, remember that there's a balance with things. Like for us, when we build muscle, we love insulin. It's just that we want to be sensitive to it and not spike it too often, but not not often. The opposite, too seldom either, right? I actually think of it when I want to have better energy, and I'm not going full into recovery mode, like when I have my first or second meal, I might have stuff I want to do still. So I go out on a walk to help digestion, not necessarily the insulin response for me, but it is a fact. Like, I think, what is it they use to lower blood sugar? Metformin. Can it be metformin? I'm pretty sure that having the walks help more than metformin in the science, for that. So yeah, it's a good habit to have. It's just that a guy like me that stays so fucking active all the time, like you see, I go up and dance or swing my club in the morning, then I have a real workout, then I might go out later and do some mobility, and I walk, I record a video, so for me, it's not as important to think of it like I have to take a walk after each meal kind of thing, but it is a very good rule to have in general. Like, it's from Stan Efferding's vertical diet is one of the things he espouses, the 3 10-minute walks per day, and it's good to schedule them after meals, right? So will help with digestion and your energy levels. Makes sense. Click my click set. Yeah. And wise words learned from experience. Mindfulness is paramount. Comment on something else. Click my click. Mr. Olympia, Mike Mentzer seemed to think you could max your genetic potential within 2 years. And then he said also, we have had very similar lives on opposite sides of the ocean. Yeah, I think there are many similar stories because I see so many guys that I just fucking look like I used to do, and they do the same shit that I used to do, and I just don't believe anyone is happy with that. But yeah, I do not think you can reach your natural potential, genetic potential within 2 years. You know, a lot of these guys, Mike Mentzer, obviously, I don't know too much about him. I just know that he did a very high intensity style approach to training. That it's not entirely, you know, I do that a lot. 3 sets with the last set being a giga drop set or something. But yeah, you know, they don't always, it's not just because they have good results, that doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about everything. And this with genetic potential within 2 years, it just does not seem very possible to me. Like, no, I have a hard time even coming up with an argument to talk about, because it just like, no, like, genetic potential, I don't even believe in a genetic potential, to be honest. I think you can always make more progress. I just think it becomes slower and smaller and slower and smaller and slower and smaller. But you can always find the little ways to challenge yourself more. So that's another reason why I don't really believe that. But I don't even believe that you make a majority of your gains, or like a majority maybe you can make in the first 2 years. The majority maybe could make sense. But I mean, what do that mean? Like close to the maximum even, I don't think at all after 2 years. No. Okay. Domin Balaguer says Romanian deadlifts for the win. Kind of out of nowhere. Is that in your video, I guess? No, I fucking love Romanian deadlifts. Hit a double, 200 kilo double stiff-legged deadlift when I tap the floor this week. We're very happy about that. Alex Bones, I finally finished my home gym, been working it. Nice. What do you have in there, man? Click my click. He was on a boatload of drugs, lol. Yeah, the Mike Mentzer guy. Yeah. I don't know anything about him. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was on steroids, like all those guys. But if you mean other drugs, well, that wouldn't surprise me either. Yeah, guys. I'd really love to see another super chat before we end the stream for today. Would mean a lot to me. I am very appreciative of you guys' support lately. But it's especially, I guess the super chat it helps indirectly in the channel's growth, because I can just invest more into the channel. But I'd really, fuck guys, I mean, I'm putting out so much, and the growth of the channel is very small. Now I'm almost feeling shadow banned, you know, because it was very strange for a little while there in like July. The algorithm just rewarded me for this bunch of videos that got much more views than before. I have no idea what happened there. But I do have a little trick up my sleeve that we'll see soon. Yeah, but I would really like it if you guys could comment and like, and send a super chat. Like, comment on this video after it finishes, right? Bench, squat rack, and 300 pounds of weight curl bar. Yeah, that sounds good. It would be, for the lower body, 300 pounds of weight would be too little for me. But for the upper body, sure. Yeah, it's funny, you know, the gym in my basement, they have 135 kilos. That's not that far off 300 pounds. It's probably a bit more, bit over 300 pounds. But yeah, for the lower body, I have to, if I do squats, it kind of works. You just have to make it a little more difficult. But the deadlifts is way too little. But nice, man. May the gains begin. Go watch my, if you haven't, Solar Knight Apprentice, the novice program. And I'm going to do some kind of home workout program too. I could do some kind of very just barbell only program. Let me know these things, guys. It's difficult to just make up out of nowhere. Like I could, you know, guys, this is my thing, that when I get the client, I take my process and apply it to them, and I make an entirely new program for them. I can do the same thing with video ideas. It's just that I don't come up with, you know, random workout program for random individual in random, you know, situation. I need some idea there. So a couple of guys have, or I mean more than a couple have requested home workout videos. So that I should do. It's just that it will take some effort for me, you know, to get the good clips and set up shit that I don't even do for myself at home, but I'm gonna have to do it to film the clips and stuff, right? So, Click by click says, I'd love to send it, but I'm at 0. Boy, gonna be rough making rent. Fasting helps save dollars. Yeah, that's the funny thing. I've also thought of that sometimes when I've done, like, especially like a 5-day fast or something. You're like, you save so much because I eat a lot of food, you know, and I also prioritize, like, not luxury food, but I always prioritize that it should be high quality, you know, avoid contaminated shit and that. So of course I spend a little bit more on money like that, but so much too. And so when you fast, it's like, yes, nice for the wallet and wallet games. So someone else will obviously have, you see that Click McClick would like to send the super chat but can't. He's fasting. He's fasting because he can't, he doesn't even have money for a super chat and has to fast. Someone save this guy by sending a super chat in his place. Okay, Alex of Forehorn. As a jacked natural lifter, have you ever had to deal with toxic people hinting or straight up accusing you in steroid use? Yeah. A bunch of times at this point. And I even got that quite early on, you know, because of the rate of progress that I did, you know. I remember in the snake diet group, some lady accused me of being on growth hormone because I have anterior pelvic tilt, so I have this kind of little belly, you know. Even when I have abs and stuff, I have a little belly. It's better now, you know, but I still have it. But yeah. I have gotten on one of these streams, someone said in the chat before it started, like, haha, I will never not laugh when someone tells me that's not steroids, you know, and these comments every now and then, like one I did that was like, how to prevent muscle loss when fasting. I think someone commented like, yeah, roids help with not losing muscle. And I've had like one girl that I hung out with for a while. I took her on as kind of a prodigy and, you know, taught her some things about her lifting, put her on a better program, basically, where we were friendly to, right? But I remember she, she did like, not without saying it, she was like, yeah, you're making very fast progress, like very fast, like, you know, it wasn't to like be like, oh wow, I never seen a progress like that. It was a hint there, you know. And yeah, you get this, not as much in real life. I'm sure, you know, some kids nearby that comment, you know, people comment on me, around me a lot. I'm used to this at this point. You know, in this neighborhood, the guy walking around with a club, shirtless or something. But I heard the kids like, oh, it smells like steroids, basically, you know. So of course people think that. And, you know, it's, I don't appreciate like, I, of course, know that I'm truthful about everything, you know, but I don't appreciate the hint of me being a liar because I think that's one of the worst things to be. Like me personally, when I've thought about stuff like that, you know, yeah, I've said that from the start. If I ever even, if I were to go on steroids, you know, which I don't want to, but I'd have to tell you guys, you know, because I can't live with myself just pretending, oh, I'm natural. It's the worst thing I know, being dishonest like that, you know. I don't like it when I have to, like, you know, lie, a white lie even something sometimes, you know. But yeah. So, you know, I don't appreciate it's very often I feel like when people say things to you, it's, to me it's not the thing in and of itself, but implication. Like, because if someone accuses me of lying, that you know, no way that's natural, you know, they're saying that I'm lying about it, you know. And I guess that makes me feel like this person doesn't see me for who I am, because to me it's so clear in the way that I present myself that I would never lie about such a thing, but apparently not to this person, right? So yeah, but you know, and just because you said it in that way, I'll go on and say that, you know, toxic people, I deal with a lot of toxic people that finds errors in what I do, and how what I do, it's somehow something wrong with it, you know. And you know, it's just because I feel so great from it. I've since very early on, I've not cared. You know, I've had to face fears of judgment on different, many levels here, guys. Like the dancing to music, for instance, in the neighborhood, that's definitely another level. But since very early on, when I just understood, I heard some people talk about my back, thinking that I'm a narcissist, that I'm a show-off, you know, have to show my physique all the time. It's like the physique is just a very clear visual representation of the change here. I always show it along with some fucking story about what a loser I used to be. The skinny fat guy is there too, you know. And the idea is to inspire you guys that I know are in a fucking similar spot like I used to be. And you could be inspired here, but you instead choose to be like, instead of being like, oh wow, yeah, I used to kind of be like him. I'm not feeling great. Maybe I could change something. You find something like, oh, he clearly is posting that because he's so full of himself and just wants to be like it's the thing, guys. Of course, you should care about some validation from other people, otherwise you're a robot. We need other people, we need some of that, but it just shouldn't be the main motivator, right? And yeah, it's another one of those things. It's kind of just tiring when people don't see you for who you are, right? But it's the alpha burden, to be honest. Like, because the alpha is the one that has to speak out when everyone is sitting agreeing about some dumb shit. The alpha is the one that gotta be like, guys, are you serious? You know, are you serious about this? Like, that has to speak out. There has to be annoying. You know, has to speak harshly. Tell the things you need to hear, not what you would feel nice for you. You know, and then a lot of people don't understand that their emotions. That I say something that make you feel bad, or that you feel attacked by it, that says more about you than about me, right? Like, and that people don't understand that just because I communicate in a way that you wouldn't, you know, I'm the guy answering your fucking question. I'm the guy here on my own time here for you to answer your questions, to help you. Do you think I'm just here to hate on you? You know, sometimes that gets to you, but it's been much better recently, guys. It's not only on the YouTube channel and stuff like this. You know, I mean, it's like in your life. You know, some people take you so for granted and they don't see you like at all for what you do, and. But it's the alpha burden, you know. You have to know that they are just doing worse than you, and that's why it is like it is. Yeah, that can be annoying. Alex of Fourhorn says. Anton, vilka låtar spelas i Demon Slayer dance video? Riktigt bra energi. Well, he's asking what songs are playing in the Demon Slayer dance video. Very good energy. Thing is, I removed the entire stream just because I will put out a shorter cut of it tomorrow, because I was very happy about the Demon Slayer dance. That demon is fucking dead, guys. For now. They always come back. But yeah, so I will put the playlist in the description for that video. So in like 20 hours or so, that video will come out. But I'll say that most of the songs is an artist called Good Night Productions. Funnily enough, with a good Knight with a K. So it's he's a knight too, like just like the Solar Knights around here, you know. But yeah, Good Night Productions that does Donkey Kong Country covers. So if you go looking for that on Spotify, you'll find it. But the specific songs will be in the playlist in the description tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, guys. I guess no one delivered on the super chat this time. It's fine. It's gonna be a little up and down with a small channel like this. And Jamie was here from the start. I'm still very happy with what you contributed with the likes and interaction in the chat. Really helps out. With you know, just creating content, and will help the other people that didn't see it live, so that's not just a bunch of dead air every time, and not just me. I mean, I'm pretty damn fucking good, guys, at coming up with stuff to talk about, but it does help when you bring me stuff, and also it should help you. It should help you that you get to pick what I talk about, right? And it's a chance for you to not only be a consumer, but actually a producer, you know, indirectly via me. So guys, thank you for this time. We'll see you in a video tomorrow. More random streams throughout the week. Another stream, 6 p.m. Central European time next Saturday. Thank you for today, guys. Peace.